Hello, this is Jenny Clark, and I'm with Solvability. And today's question is for What's Up with Mitch is how do we know if we have to submit an incurred cost proposal? Oh my gosh, this sounds like another bureaucracy under government contracting. Well, you better believe it is. And one of the first questions that people need to know about is when do we have to be DCA compliant and when do we have to submit an incurred cost proposal? The short answer is if you have cost plus contracts where you're a prime contractor. But you should know what goes in it and you should know a little bit about it. You should be also considering if you want to do cost plus work. It's a bunch of extra effort to do these incurred cost proposals. And the biggest surprise that I run into is companies that win Small Business Innovative Research, SBIRs or SIBRs, and find out that it's a SIBR phase 2. It's treated as a cost plus contract. And they actually have to go back and prove what their indirect rates are for the year. So as far as what's up with Mitch, Mitch is a small business and federal contracting, wants to learn how to grow, and his question about do we have to submit an incurred cost proposal really just came up because he was in a meeting with a bunch of other people and they were talking about incurred cost proposal. Now, I'm not sure why it came up, but let's talk. Mitch is a bottom line kind of guy. He always just tells me, Jenny, I just want it all to work. So he's got 5 questions related to this incurred cost proposal, and I would have to say he's a little bit irritated about the whole thing. To him, he's a technologist, he's an innovator, he's working very hard to make sure that the services he's providing to the federal government are what they need to solve the problem. He's mission driven, and all of a sudden there's all this bureaucracy in the middle of it. So his first question, Mitch says, why didn't we know about this when we bid that contract? I'm not sure, Mitch, but we really didn't talk about that specific proposal being a cost plus proposal. And I'm sure you took a look at it and just said, well, this is just like what we've been doing, so let's put it in. Doing an incurred cost proposal takes a certain amount of effort, and it's going to cost you some money. Sometimes your accountant internally will have advanced cost accounting skills and be able to complete that. Other times you're going to need to get somebody to help and work with you on that. Usually the first one is a pain in the neck, but once you've got the first one and you've got the model down, it's not that hard to update. But it is a very specific area of federal government cost accounting to do an incurred cost proposal. It's like 26 worksheets. Mitch's second question, is there any way to get the contracting officer to waive that requirement or change it to a fixed price contract? Now, I have heard of this, that the contracting officer, when they're awarding the contract, might be able to say, hey, this is a small effort. We're going to treat it as fixed price because we need you to get your accounting system in line so that you can get more of this work because we like what you do. But our rules are that we have to award most of this work as cost plus contract. So they might initially make something fixed price. They really are not that likely to go on a limb to waive the requirement because why should they, honestly? Why should they? Mitch's third question is, do we even have the information in our system to show what last year's indirect rates were? Well, if you've got your accounting system set up correctly to meet DCA compliance, you've got a section that has direct cost and indirect cost. Direct costs are what you spend supporting the contract, the labor of the employees that are working on it, their travel and specific related costs. Indirect costs are support costs, basically broken down into fringe, overhead, and G&A. Now, if you're working with Solvability and we've been working together, we've gone through your chart of accounts, we've structured your accounting information so that we can get indirect rates. And normally, we've been calculating that in a spreadsheet because we want something that we update ourselves every single month. If you've got more sophisticated systems, such as a Uninet, that has indirect rate calculations, and you can see that in there. So you would have the information in your system to show what your indirect rates are for last year. Mitch's fourth question is something our accountant can do for us. Hey, this is a very specific area of cost accounting for federal contracting, and unless your accountant is an expert in federal contracting, they're really not going to know how to do this. Accountants are just like doctors. Some people are just doing you know, the basics, and some people are doing more advanced things. But don't make an assumption that just because you have somebody that's an accountant, that they know the details of cost accounting, and specifically federal government cost accounting, because that's what the incurred cost submission is. And it's not like you can just sit down and read the instructions and figure it all out. You've got to have an overall plan that the data is collected as you go along in your accounting software, in your reporting, so that you know you've got it. And then who do we know that can help us get the incurred cost submission done? That's a great question. It may be that you've been talking to other companies, and they've got somebody that they've worked with before. They might be able to help you get started, but it's really your responsibility to be able to produce this information. And your system should be set up to report it anyway, because if you don't know what your indirect rates are, you don't know what you're bidding. If you don't know what you're bidding, you don't know if you're putting enough money into profit and cover all your cost. And that's what you've always told me you wanted, Mitch. So Mitch is unstoppable. Are you unstoppable? You know where you want to go. Solvability can help you get there with the cost and pricing intelligence that you need to accelerate and scale your business. Most of our clients start out with our free wrap rate calculator. That shows you the basics of how you take an employee pay rate, apply the burden specific to your company, and say this is the billing rate or the fully burdened or the loaded labor rate that I need to use to recover all my cost and get this percentage of profit. This wrap rate calculator can also be used the other way. Once you know what your wrap rate is, or your multiplier is, you take the billing rate divided by that, and that's how much you can afford to pay the employee. So just go to our website at solvability.com. That's S as in Sam, OLV as in Victor, and the word ability.com. You know, if you got something more urgent, or you think that there's more services that you might need, love to talk to you about that. Just send me a text, area code 256-882-6276. Tell me your name, your company name, and what your issue is, and let's set up a phone call.